I'm the Rhodes Scholar, honoring and celebrating Black History Month. Just after the Civil War, famed abolitionist Owen Brown decided to make his home here in the beautiful foothills of Altadena. It's also his final resting place, and I decided to hike up the hill to take a look where Owen Brown is buried. So looking at the maps, that right there, that large tree on the top of that mountain, is our goal. It was a long hike up a private mountain road and then onto a dirt trail. I finally found it after a 20-minute walk. Owen Brown owned much of the land in this valley. It was his homestead for 5 years. This was his favorite spot here in the valley, and it was called Little Round Top. It's where he spent to spend most of his time. It was 1859. John Brown and his entire family were staunch abolitionists. They started and participated in the Harper's Ferry Rebellion, a trigger point for the Civil War. John Brown and some of his family did not make it out. They were tried and convicted and then executed as part of the sweeping reforms the government was trying to make. Owen Brown made it out here to Altadena in 1884, where he lived the rest of his life. This gravestone has been here since 1889 when Owen Brown passed away. It had some metallic symbols on it as well that symbolized freedom from slavery. Those were gone, those were rusted away. A few years ago, this gravestone was stolen, or so they thought. Just recently, they found this stone a couple hundred feet down that hill. It has since been replaced, and this has been a place of memorial and thoughtfulness for many people in Altadena. Our friend and well-known KGEM host Ralph Walker spoke to Michelle Zach, a historian, and Marietta Cruels, an advocate for open spaces in the San Gabriel Valley.
You're a part of a very special committee also, right? And what is that committee?
I'm on the Owen Brown Gravesite Committee, which is a committee that was convened by the Board of Supervisors with 4 tasks and to do with the Owen Brown gravesite. The first is to restore the gravesite. The second is to get the gravesite into a land conservancy. The third is to make sure that we could get historic designation for the site. And then the fourth thing is to do work on creating educational programs.
Okay, well, let's talk about the gravestone, because we're not talking about a 5-pound rock, boulder. We're talking about a very large item, right?
Well, it weighs about 500 pounds. It's a kind of a vertical natural stone that was carved and put to use as a gravestone, and it says, Owen Brown, son of John Brown the Liberator, died, I think, January 6th, 1889.
So the person that found that gravestone is of historical importance also.
Well, yeah, this last time it was recovered, because I want to point out it's been lost a few times, but this last time it went missing for a long time, and Ian White, who's the son of the famous African-American artist Charles White, who is a neighbor in the Meadows, he and his son were walking after a storm, and I guess the stone had been buried and missing at that point for 10 years. A little bit of it was sticking out of the brush, and they uncovered it, and wow, there's the stone missing for 10 years. At that point, Ian White, I think very wisely said, well, we shouldn't just keep putting it back up there and having it come
disappear.
down. I'm going to keep the stone in a secure location until we have a friendly landowner, and that's what happened.
Wow. So they removed the stone from where they found it at, this
And
500-pound stone, took
Right.
it back downhill?
Yeah, and they hid it. They hid it for 10 years in the backyard of some neighbors, Glenn and Leanne Samuel.
Wow.
They kept it safe for this time until our committee worked with Tim Cantwell, who purchased the land, and he was a friendly landowner because he had agreed in advance that he would put the land in a conservancy.
That's amazing, right?
It is.
You know, over time, public access is lost. Sometimes it's on private property and people don't realize they have legal rights to it. Much of this property we're talking about, Save the Altadena Trails was responsible for going to court against the landowner and several landowners on the trail, and forcing them to accept the fact that it had always been open access for the public. So it is adjudicated, which means always will be open access to walk to that site and visit Owen's grave marker and think about the story that he has to tell that's buried with him.
Owen Brown died on January 8, 1889 from pneumonia. His funeral 2 days later was attended by over 1,800 people, the largest funeral in Pasadena at the time. It was led off by a marching band, and ministers from 4 different churches held the services for him. Owen Brown was definitely a pioneer, not just here in the San Gabriel Valley, but a pioneer for civil rights, and he definitely left his mark on the world. I decided to head to Alhambra and check out Alhambra High School, the original home of LA Rams superstar Dwayne Allen. This is Alhambra High School. It's my alma mater, which I share with Dwayne Allen, a proud graduate of Alhambra High School and a member of the Alhambra High School Sports Hall of Fame. He was a running back for the Los Angeles Rams, and I'm sure if he was alive today, he would be ecstatic over their Super Bowl win. I am here with my friend, Alhambra City Council member Adele Andrade-Stadler, who actually knew Dwayne Allen. Can you tell me a little bit about how you knew him?
I did. I actually met him many, many years ago as a student at Mark Keppel High School.
That's awesome. And can you tell me, what are your impressions of Dwayne?
So the fact that what I think is most impressive is that today we're celebrating the Rams when in fact Dwayne Allen played for the Los Angeles Rams. And then when he left, when he retired, he went home to Alhambra, which is his place of birth, and continued his his love of football by instructing the students of Mark Keppel High School, where I met him. He returned as a coach to both the football and the track team. But I watched him from afar as he practiced with many of my friends on the football field. But where I really got a chance to know him was as the hall monitor for Mark Keppel High School, where I observed him on many occasions be the most compassionate and understanding security for the students who really needed more guidance.
Awesome. And if you were to paint him as a role model today, how do you think he would react to and work with people today?
I think he would jump right back into the role of working with the youth, because he knew that is where everything starts, and that's the beginning of all. Having an impact on students and on children is incredibly important. And I am proud to stand here on during Black History Month and recognizing Dwayne Allen as a resident of Alhambra.
And what do you think Dwayne would think of our Super Bowl win over the weekend?
I think he would be ecstatic, as all of us were.
It was a great weekend. Adele, thank you so much. It was great to see you. Thank you for taking the time to talk about Dwayne. Very much appreciated. Owen Brown and Dwayne Allen, superstars and pioneers in their own right, are amazing and fascinating figures of San Gabriel Valley Black history.